It looks like this. It looks like a really nice biscuit. In today's video, I'm going to be asking, is this the best foundation for your mature skin? I'm Amelia and I love all things beauty, so join me and let the fun commence. Starting with the new Dior Forever Hydra Nude foundation. Let me read you what the way Dior markets this. There's 18 shades. It retails for £50 in the UK, and it tells us the first Dior foundation that delivers 24 hours of natural perfection and is infused with hyaluronic acid for 48 hours of hydration. The skin appears plumped from the inside and radiates on the outside, enhanced with a natural freshness and a no makeup feel. It does go on to say that it allows the skin to breathe all day and that there is an imperceptible finish with a bare skin effect and 24 hours of wear. Its fresh, lightweight formula, drenched with at least 50% of water, blends effortlessly to achieve a natural result. Let's have a look. I'm totally up for this foundation because I love anything that's skin-like, that's quite a light coverage and has got hydrating or moisturising benefits, and no SPF. Thank you. I got it in the shade 3N. I have a problematic history with Dior foundation shades, so I know I'm somewhere between a 3N and a 3.5N, even though sometimes I have gone for a warm as well. This is probably going to be the safest one, given that it's the beginning of a new year and I'm pretty much at my pay list. I didn't want to buy two colours in case I could get away with it, or two shades in case I could get away with one. I'm going to use the brush that I always use for my foundation, which is the BK Beauty 101. And the reason I'm doing that is just so I'm comparing like with like. I've only got my daytime skincare on at the moment. I haven't put any primer on or concealer or anything at all. Let's just see what it's like, just to give it a sort of a level playing field. Let's see if it's got some fragrance. You know, these brands, they're always sort of more fragrance than you'd like. I would say it does smell of something. It's not really highly perfumed. It's not like, you know, the Chanel where you're not knocked out by the fragrance. I mean, I'm not averse to fragrance. I actually quite like it, but it's the kind of, with Chanel I can sort of smell it all day. This, I would say, is a very mild, fresh fragrance. It's almost green. It's not really sickly or anything like that. I was so impressed with Dior because I ordered this quite late last night on a Sunday and it arrived first thing this morning on Monday. I was really, really pleased. Let's see how this goes on. It seems to me to be a slightly gelled texture. It's not jelly, it's not sort of really gelled, but it's got a slight bounce to it, I would say. But it's going on nicely and it's going on thin. I've got a thing about thin foundations. I want things to go on thin because it's not so much, I do want the coverage, I just don't want to feel that I'm sort of fighting a texture and I'm fighting sort of something that goes on quite thickly. But this is going on nicely, I think. Hopefully you will have your colour that definitely suits you and you know is a dead cert. There's something about having an olive undertone, I think, a neutral olive undertone, that isn't necessarily great with this brand, I think. But it doesn't stop me using the foundations. It's just that it's always at this stage I have a little moan and then I get over it and then I carry on and it's fine. Now, all I put on underneath as my morning skincare is, after cleansing, I put a bit of the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream. That's all. Okay. I have to say I'm kind of loath to put on any concealer because I kind of want to give it a chance. I want to give the foundation a chance as I wear it during the day, just so I can really see what it's like and see how it performs without too much help. Again, even though I'm not really a powder person, sometimes I will powder a little bit on my nose if need be, but I think now I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave it and just to see what happens. I've bought the bronzer, the new Dior bronzer as well, so I'll apply that and put some more actual makeup on, but I won't put any more complexion products on my face. You can see it is quite glowy, which I like. I'm in my late 50s and I've got dry skin. For me, something that's hydrating and something that's a bit glowy is a good thing. And I do like the finish. I do like the way it looks. I'm definitely getting a nice finish. And I can see there, I don't know whether you can see it on the cheek. There's a glow, but it's not shine. I don't think I've got too many dry patches at the moment. It feels super comfortable. I'm quite hopeful about this one. I like the finish. It goes on really nicely. As I said, there's a slight gel feel to it, which is a really nice quality. One of the things that the website talks about is that there's an immediate kind of cooling effect on the skin. I'm not saying I particularly felt that, but maybe I'm insensitive. However, I can see that there is a freshness to it, and maybe that's reflected by the slight fragrance as well that I sort of smelt on the back of my hand. There is a freshness to this foundation. I hope it wears well, and if it does, I will also buy the 3.5N and just mix it, because it's very, very slightly too light for me. I'd like a little bit more warmth, but it's not going to stop me wearing it as long as it wears well. And I have to say, I haven't got any reason to think that it won't wear, just because while I was putting it on, it seemed to go on the way I would expect it to. I'm kind of comparing it to the love of my life, which is the Guerlain Terracotta foundation, which is and again, also a thin foundation and goes on probably similarly, although it might be a little bit more liquid. On my eyes, I'm going to try the new Natasha Denona Mini Eye Sculpt palette. I've got the shades here for you. It retails at £27 in the UK, and the first two light shades are in her most recent formula, which is the Silky Matte formula, and the medium, dark and black is in her more sort of classic formula, which is the creamy matte formula that we all know and love so much because it blends so nicely and it's buttery and it's all the things that people rave about, Natasha Denona. I think it's worth thinking about comparable products to this, even though I've yet to try it. So let's see. Hopefully it performs really well, because at £27 it's comparing really well to what I perceive to be the competition. And the main competition, I think, for me is the Charlotte Tilbury Super Nudes palette, which retails at £47, although you do get 6 shades, including a couple of cooler shades. However, the reason why it's a good comparison is it's also a small palette, and it's good to have something in your makeup bag where you can sort of carve out the shape of the eye, and whether you're going to put a brighter colour on the lid, or whether you just want, very sort of neutral or natural kind of look, or just a matte look. So I think that's a fair comparison. So £27, Natasha Denona with her amazing formula, as against £47 with the Charlotte Tilbury. Now I have to say, I've used the Charlotte Tilbury for several years, really enjoyed it, hit pan, and was about to buy a replacement, and then I got tempted by the Makeup by Mario, and it's new to me, but it's not new to everybody else. The Makeup by Mario, I'm looking at it here, the Master Matte's eyeshadow palette, the original, which is the warm, not the cool, and that retails at £54, although it's a different beast because you're getting 12 colours, and it's a bigger palette and so on. But it is worth thinking about that as well, given that is, again, that's all mattes. You probably don't need 12 immediately, or you certainly don't need 12 every single day of the week. So if this performs well, I've got high hopes, then this would be great, because it's so small, great for travel, certainly great for taking to work if you're sort of, you go to the gym, then you want to put your makeup on at the gym or at work or whatever. It's teeny tiny. I'm going to first of all put a bit of Lisa Eldridge's Phoebe as a eyeshadow primer. It's not so much that Natasha Denona needs this help, it's more that my eyelids need this help. I'm going to put a little bit of that because I always do that these days. before I put eyeshadow on. As I said, I'm in my late 50s. My eyelids have always been dry, and now, of course, with age, they're even drier. Oftentimes, I just put it on with my fingers, but I've got so many brushes these days now that I've sort of went slightly bananas with buying a load of Rèphr brushes. I will start with the medium shade here. Will be just about enough, I think, to carve out the socket shape in my eye. So we'll give that a go. I'm using Rèphr 15 first of all, and then let's see. Now, as I said, these are the super buttery, the final three are the super buttery formula, which we know, and it's going on as expected, beautifully soft and easy. I'm just in the habit of putting my brush and just tapping it off, but I think I'm going to try not to do it for the next couple of times, and I think there's not much fallout. Not that I get that excited about the fallout, although unusually, as you know, I've put my foundation on first, or the new Dior foundation, so if there is fallout, it'll be a test of the foundation to see how easy it is to wipe that away with additional foundation, but we may not need to. So that is already looking very nice. I do like this. I just want to show you. And it's not much work, you know? Now the black is a lovely soft black. I don't want to say it's sheer, but initially I thought it was a dark brown, but it's not. It is a black, it's just very soft. Because I'm not really a fan at all of black unless I need it to sort of darken the socket or to smoke the eye out a little bit, I tend not to use the black as much as anything else. I'd rather have a soft black. I find it more wearable for me. And as I've got older, I have found black just way too harsh as eyeliner, so I don't use that anymore. I use dark brown, or increasingly a bronzy colour as well. I bought a bronze from YSL as an eyeliner, their eyeliners, and I have bought a sort of a bronzy tone from Victoria Beckham as well that I've started using. So that, just with one eyeshadow, I mean, it's just incredible. I'll use the second lightest shade and just put a little bit on the inside here, and then actually the rest of the lid as well. So we're just using the second shade. The shades are called Fair, Light, Medium, Deep and Black. There you go, easy to remember. That with a bit of mascara, and I'd be quite happy to go out the door like that. Millions wouldn't, but I'd be happy with that. They're blending so easily. They're doing exactly what you expect Natasha Denona to do. And actually, if I'm honest, they're blending better and less sort of dustily than the Charlotte Tilbury palette I mentioned earlier. So actually, it's not just that these are more cost effective and it's a smaller palette. It's actually, it feels like a better product. It really does. And I suppose I shouldn't be surprised by that, just because Natasha's formulas are impeccable. I mean, you might not like the colour, you might not always like the finish, but they're going to blend and there's not going to be a problem. And that's really what we've got here. We've got very professional, predictable and solid kind of performers, really. I'll put a little bit of the light bone colour, which I really appreciate, because you don't always get a really good sort of what I always call a bone colour. I'm not sure whether bones are that colour. I'm really sorry, I've just got no idea. But it's quite difficult to get that kind of colour right. And this is just right. Now, for kicks and giggles, with my Rèphr 23, I'm going to line my eyes with a little bit of the brown, the black and the darker brown together. I'll sort of mix them in the palette together. Let's see what we get. I'm just tapping it on the back, off the back of my hand. I'm just going to put a little bit as close to the lash line as I can. And let's see if we get, oh, I've got a very tiny wing there. I love it when that happens, it makes me feel like a genius. As I said, I'm going between the two, just to soften the black. I don't know whether I've wiggled it enough in here. I mean, these are totally usable and desirable. I'm delighted I've bought this. I'll definitely get the use out of it. And the fact that it's so small is easy to take with you. I mean, a lot of my work, I'm on a train, and I end up doing my makeup on the train just because I kind of get an early train, and I don't really want to be doing my makeup at 6 in the morning. So I tend to do it when I'm sort of halfway on that journey. This is going to be absolutely ideal because they're so easy to blend. And I'll be able to do it with 2 brushes. If I wanted to line my eyelids, then that's just a second brush. It's not a big deal. I'm going to put some mascara on. The mascara that I've started using, and I got it as part of a kit at Christmas, is the Lisa Eldridge Kitten Lash. Now, I didn't think I'd like this because I don't particularly like a natural mascara. I like a lot of Voom. I've been very pleasantly surprised by this. I really like it, and it gets better and better. Like most mascaras, you get more of a sense of what they're like after about a week of using them, and it's certainly the case with this. Along with the new Dior foundation, I also ordered the Dior Forever Nude bronzer. It looks like this. It looks like a really nice biscuit. It comes in 8 shades. It's £48. It comes in a range of shades. Some of them are matte, and some of them have got some sheen to them, but Dior doesn't call it sheen, and this is kind of what sold it to me and why I was happy to kind of risk choosing a colour online rather than going in store. I'll tell you what they call the formula. They say it's a range of shades designed to suit a variety of skin tones, available in a natural glow finish and a matte finish. They're calling the alternative to the matte a natural glow finish. I would say that's probably accurate, just having sort of roughly swatched the one that I got. Now, I got number 4 warm. I wasn't sure what to do. I wasn't sure whether I should get the warm matte, but because I read this thing that when they say natural glow, they didn't say shimmer, they didn't say sheen. I kind of had to trust them linguistically, as it were. It looks like that. So it's quilted on the outside as well as on the inside. I didn't go for a darker, more golden shade, simply because I've been enjoying the YSL All Hours Hyper Bronze, which again doesn't have any shimmer in it, but is quite a bit darker. I'm going to put it on top so you can see the difference. So I wanted something that was lighter than the YSL, partly because, as I said, dead of winter, as we are now, I wanted something that I could just put on my cheeks that was really very, very soft, partly in keeping with the, isn't it, Pantone's colour of 2025 is Mocha Mousse, which sounds delicious. Who's not in the mood for Mocha Mousse? I've got the new Rèphr Koyo brush, and I kind of I sort of had high hopes of using combining the Koyo brush, which I know is going to give me a sheer kind of wash, with the new Dior bronzer, just for the winter, just to have a little bit of a glow. Now, I think this could be a fortuitous combination because, as I said, the foundation is a little bit lighter for me than I'd like. So hopefully this is going to help me warm up my complexion without too much of a commitment to sort of an orangey bronze, even though the YSL I don't find too orangey actually on me, and I have really enjoyed wearing it, not least because again there's no shimmer. So, but this, let's talk about the Dior. This Dior doesn't have shimmer, definitely. It's not, is it a glow? Let's have a look. Well, that's actually very nice. That's actually very nice indeed. Now, as you know, I've got the Natasha Denona on my eyelids, but actually this kind of shade would be great just to put on the eyelids with some mascara as a kind of tonal look. But I think we're very much on message with Pantone, actually, with the combination of the Natasha Denona, the Dior bronzer, and possibly my lipstick, which I didn't tell you. When I went off camera and I put the mascara on, I used a bit of the Anastasia lip liner, Anastasia Beverly Hills lip liner. Is it Mocha? Yes, it's Mocha. And the YSL Love Shine Candy Glow in Nude Crush. Quite like, I mean, I do like these lipsticks. They are lovely. I really like this bronzer. I really like it. It's soft. The colour's good for me, I think. It's warming up the foundation nicely. Let's see if we put a bit up here, see what happens. And I'd rather dip in several times and build the warmth up than be fighting a darker colour. I have to say, when I looked at the colours, because I've got warm, then it's warm matte, which is a similar shade but matte, and then there's only one shade after that, which is intense. There's intense and then there's intense matte. So I'm not sure how inclusive these shades are, but you know, don't get me started on that. If you can hear groaning, it's a teenager weightlifting. There's a lot of drama with this weightlifting business. If you've got teenage sons, you might know what I mean. There's this whole weightlifting fetish thing going on. The funny thing is that get them to lift a bag of shopping and they somehow can't manage to do it. So I'm not quite sure how that works. There's some kind of teenage alchemy at work. I am really pleased with this. I'm glad I bought it because it's £48. It's not that cheap and it's an expensive mistake, whatever you spend. But this is great. And as I said, look at that packaging. How can you not love that packaging? It's kind of squidgy. Although, if you look at the YSL, it's a similar thing. But Dior was there first with the squidgy. I'm sure there's an elegant French word that they use instead of me saying squidgy, but the padded quilted effect. I would say so far it's a win for Dior on the foundation, it's a win for Dior with the bronzer, and it's definitely a win for Natasha Denona. £27. You can't really argue with that. That is the finished look. My hair is a law unto itself, along with a lot of other things in this house. Let's see how this foundation wears. Honestly, I don't think, I would be so surprised if I was disappointed because it looks lovely. I love the finish. As I said, only quibble is the slight shade thing, but actually with this, it's warmed it up. Maybe I can get away with it and I won't have to buy the 3.5N. But honestly, I'm really pleased. I'm pleased with the eyeshadows as well. And I think it's been a useful set of purchases, actually, the 3 new purchases. As a sideline, shout out to Lisa Eldridge's mascara. I was pretty sure I wouldn't like it, and I actually really like it. I do. I hope she comes out with a brown, because I will be buying it if she does that, and I think I would repurchase it. I hope you'll consider some of these purchases. I'll be really interested to know what you think and whether you end up going for them, and if you do, what you end up thinking. Thank you so much for joining me. Such a pleasure, and see you in the next video. Bye.